It was shocking, and really it was awkward to watch that the commander-in-chief of the United States of America was fumbling, losing his train of thought, stammering, and sometimes speaking illogically.
President of the United States, Joe Biden.
Folks, how are you? Great to be here. Thank you.
Was the debate between Joe Biden and Donald Trump the moment that could define the race to become the most powerful person on the planet? Everyone seems to be in agreement that Joe Biden's stumbling, losing his place, may well have lost him the race, causing panic amongst Democrats, saying that he could now be removed as a Democrat candidate. Well, let's now bring in Sarah Elliot, Director of the Special Relationship Unit at the Legatum Institute, who was watching. Hi, Sarah.
Hello, how are you?
I'm very good. I'm very good. I think for people in the UK who've sort of heard bits of concern about Joe Biden and his, frankly, fitness for office, they might have thought it was being overblown or it was just sort of Donald Trump memes or whatever it might be. To be confronted by what happened last night was pretty shocking.
It was shocking, and really it was awkward to watch that the commander-in-chief of the United States of America was fumbling, losing his train of thought, stammering, and sometimes speaking illogically.
What I'm going to do is fix the tax system. For example, we have 1,000 trillionaires in America. I mean, billionaires in America. And what's happening? They're in a situation where they, in fact, pay 8.2% in taxes. If they just paid 24%, 25%, either one of those numbers, they'd raise $500 million, billion dollars, I should say, in a 10-year period. We'd be able to wipe out his debt. We'd be able to help make sure that all those things we need to do, child care, elder care, making sure that we continue to strengthen our healthcare system, making sure that we're able to make every single solitary person eligible for what I've been able to do with the with the COVID, with dealing with everything we have to do with, look, if we finally beat Medicare. I was recently in France for D-Day, and I spoke all about those heroes that died. I went to the World War II cemetery, World War I cemetery he refused to go to. He was standing with his four-star general, and he told me, he said, I don't want to go in there because they're a bunch of losers and suckers. My son was not a loser, was not a sucker. You're the sucker. You're the loser.
So, and he couldn't even really walk down the steps at the end of the debate. So it's definitely not the best showing for the Democrats or really for America and that matter. And, it almost felt like it was a bit, he needs to retire. He needs to step down for his sake. And it wasn't very kind to him as a person to put him in that situation.
How extraordinary would it be for the Democrats to replace their candidate just a few months before Election Day?
I mean, it is extraordinary, and it's very undemocratic. If you think about it, the primary process is over. So what are you going to do? Have a brokered convention in August, 3 months before the election, and hope that America falls in love with someone new? What I find really interesting is they haven't even mentioned Kamala Harris, the vice president, and maybe elevating her. She's a Black woman from California. Like, why wouldn't they want to put her forward? But it is like the Bidens are holding on to power by their fingernails right now, and it just doesn't look good for the country and for him. And so, really, out of kindness, he should step down. The people around him, Jill Biden, should encourage him to resign.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because both parties have sort of been through this with the Republicans. There are lots of Republicans who are appalled at the fact that Donald Trump is their candidate.
The only person on this stage is a convicted felon is the man I'm looking at right now. And the fact of the matter is, what he's telling you is simply not true. The fact is that there was no effort on his part to stop what was going on up in Capitol Hill. And all those people, every one of those who are convicted, deserves to be convicted. The crimes that you are still charged with, and think of all the civil penalties you have. How many billions of dollars do you owe in civil penalties for molesting a woman in public, for doing a whole range of things, of having sex with a porn star on the night while your wife was pregnant? I mean, what are you talking about? You have the morals of an alley cat.
Give you a minute, sir.
I didn't have sex with a porn star.
They've been through that process. There's no one they think is better placed to win with the right sort of voters in the US. It's also extraordinary. The Democrats still seem to think that the best guy they've got is the guy who got in the pickle last night, but was ultimately, Barack Obama's vice president, years ago, first ran for the presidency donkeys years ago. What's gone wrong in the two main parties? The bringing up of talent. It ends up with, the guy in his 70s who's a convicted felon against the guy in his 80s who doesn't know where he is.
Yes, well, I mean, even in 2016, in the primary with Hillary Clinton, it was the super delegates at the convention that chose Hillary Clinton over Bernie Sanders. So it's kind of the establishment taking hold and not moving. Maybe this is a call for term limits or age limits in the U.S. political process. But it's clearly that once you're in power, you don't want to leave that. And I think Joe Biden, he's been overlooked for many years for the top job, and now he's in the top job, and his people are saying, "Listen, we're not gonna leave. We're gonna serve our term."
Really interesting. So good to speak to you as ever. Sarah Elliot there, Director of the Special Relationship Unit at the Legatum Institute.